Hey guys, and welcome back. So, first of all, I want to start by saying thank you so much for all the love and support and sharing of Quear and joining me on this adventure. I'm beyond humbled. I also want to say a massive thank you to all the people that have reached out and shared their own personal journey with me and story and felt that this platform has given them the confidence and the comfort to do so. So thank you guys so much for everything. I'm super appreciative. This week, we are gonna explore what it was like coming to terms with my sexuality. Now, this video is purely about that period of my life where I was experimenting and trying to find my confidence and my identity. I talk a little bit about Barbados, but this is purely about my journey into figuring out who I was. So in this video, you'll notice that I have long brown hair and really tan skin because this was the first video that I've ever filmed with my entire setup, and I chose this video to shoot, and I decided not to edit it or refilm it because I want to share this with you. I want you guys to know where I started. Also, in this video, I'm super raw and super open about all the experiences that I went through, and I think it's very important for me to share. I hope that this video can help somebody out there with the things that they're going through and know that everything will work out. But yeah, thank you for joining again this week, and let's just dive right in. So, starting in Barbados. Barbados was amazing. I lived there until I was 16. I grew up there. Growing up was amazing. My mom and dad's best friends were my best friends, so we always just used to play together. We used to go to the beach together. We used to have so much fun together, and it's just such a free and outdoorsy lifestyle, especially living on an island where the beach is like stunning. So growing up when I was a kid was amazing, and then when you got into teenage years, it was also super fun. You can drink at 16, you can drive at 16, you can party at 16. We were probably partying all through our teenage years, but we started drinking when we were like 15, 16. So it was super fun. I dated a lot of girls when I was in Barbados, and I just had such an amazing time. When I was 16, my mom and dad were able to send me and my brother to boarding school. So we went to the same boarding school in Ontario, Canada, and that was epic. I freaking loved boarding school. It was like one big sleepover all the time. You got so much craziness. And we filmed so much of it. So it was a great time of my life, and I will never regret that. A lot of people think that you go to boarding school because you're a bad kid. For me, I was like, Mom and Dad, get me off of this island. I'm ready to go. Like, I'm ready to see the world. So that was boarding school for me. I also dated a girl when I was in boarding school. She is a really good friend of mine still, and she went to a close boarding school, so it just kind of worked, and she's from Barbados. So yes, she's still a really good friend of mine. After leaving boarding school, I decided to go to acting school. So I went to Vancouver Film School in Vancouver, so right across Canada. And that was amazing time of my life. I loved acting school. It really challenged my identity. It challenged my sexuality. It really made me think, like, who the hell are you? And what do you want to do in this lifetime? Because life's so goddamn short. So a couple of classes that we used to have there was one called the hot seat. And you would have to sit in front of the class, and the teacher would ask you tons of questions. And you'd probably be there for like an hour and a half. And she would ask you tons of questions, and she would know if you're lying. So she would circle back until she felt that you were being authentic, and you were sitting in front of a room of like 12 of your classmates, and you're just sitting in front of everybody, and you have to answer these questions. So it was super intense, but it broke down barriers, it broke down walls, it broke down everything that you were kind of hiding behind. Then we had this other class where it was like a week-long intensive with one of the main teachers in the school, and we had to do these scenes. So my scene partner was one of the favorite students of the school, and she was such a great actress, and she's one of my best friends, and she and I had this scene together where I had to be this dominating guy and I had to like overpower her and I had a whip and all this crazy stuff. And we got there and the teacher rips me a new one. He's like, why are you such a, excuse my language, why are you such a, you're letting her overpower you. She's dominating the scene. Why are you so scared? You're acting like a fairy. Are you gay? And all this stuff. And I was like, I just remember being like so humiliated. I like cried after my scene was done. I was so embarrassed because all I was just saying is like, no, I'm not. Like, I'll do, and all this. Anyways, so that was like a super embarrassing time. But I did leave acting school feeling so much more confident in myself, so much more true to my identity. Well, halfway there. And then I definitely was just more of a freer person that didn't care about judgment and stigma. So I really appreciate that time in my life for letting me discover that. I did date 2 girls when I was in acting school, so casually. But leaving acting school, I got into my first apartment, and that's where I met my first roommate, and he was a beautiful bisexual guy, super confident and super masculine. And I remember us sitting down one night and having a conversation and me just asking him tons of questions about himself and his sexuality. And I remember I used to look up to him because he was so confident and he was so true to himself. And I was like, why can't I be like this, you know? And then he started dating this beautiful girl. She's my roommate now, and she is also his girlfriend at the time. And she was also super open and confident with her sexuality and herself. And 2 of them were just like this beautiful couple. So I remember like having wine nights with her when he was playing games in his room, and I would ask her same things. I would ask her about her sexuality and just be so curious about all of that. And she's like, do you think you'd ever date a guy, or do you think you'd ever experiment with a guy? And I was like, no, I appreciate guys' beauty, and I think that, no, I really can just appreciate men's beauty, is what I used to tell her. What the does that mean? Anyways, so we had a lot of conversation, and the 2 of them kind of just installed a lot of confidence in me that I can just be a little bit more authentic and true. So this is back when I had Tinder, and I would change it just for the night. I think this is like 20-year-old me. Just for the night, I would change it to men and women. So, and I would flick for like 2 hours, and then I would change it back to just women, just try not to get caught. So I met this guy on Tinder, and we go on a date, and it was crazy. Like, I was so awkward. I just didn't even know how to act. I was so nervous in case anybody would see me, and I was like, I didn't even know what to say. And I can frickin' talk, let me tell you that. So for me, it was strange. It was just like, anyways, we ended up going on a second date, and on the second date, we ended up having. This is my first time with a guy. I think maybe I met up with a guy before at acting school, but for like a scene or something, but like that's it. So we ended up having, and I remember after it finished, I felt so much shame and so much guilt run right through my body, and I was like, oh my God. And he goes, you can sleep over if you want. I was like, hell no. And I was out of the door. I was gone, and I shut that part of me down for like 8 months. I deleted Tinder. I didn't go on it, and I was so disgusted by myself. But I think that was a lot of shame of just like being raised in a homophobic country. So 8 months pass, and I'm working a shift at a store that I picked up, so I wasn't supposed to be there, and this beautiful Italian guy walks in. So I think I'm like almost turning 21. And he walks in, and we start chatting, and we were chatting for like an hour and a half, and we're talking about Italy and Barbados and all these different things. And I was saying, partying in Barbados is freaking amazing. There's nowhere like it. And he's like, well, Vancouver's actually pretty fun. So we exchanged numbers and I had to kick him out of the store. I was like, dude, I gotta close the store, so bye. So we were texting, but it was very like,
yeah man, dude, bro, yeah, great, love it.
and I was like, okay, like this guy's straight, but hey, maybe I'll have a good like partying or friend. He messages me and he's like, hey dude, I'm going out with my roommate tonight. Do you want to come? His roommate's a girl. I said, yeah, for sure. Like, let's do it. So I meet them at the bar and it's actually a lot of fun. We're drinking, we've got tequila shots and we were like smashed. And I'm on the dance floor dancing with his roommate and him. And then he decides to go buy more shots. And during that time, me and his roommate start making out. And he comes back and he's like, what the f-? And we're like, what is going on? And he like storms out of the club. And I look at his roommate and I'm like, what is going on? Why is he so mad? Like, I didn't know that he wanted to hook up with you or make out with you. And then she was like, I didn't know either. We used to have a thing back in the day. So I was like, okay, don't worry about it. I will go and talk to him. So I follow him out into the alleyway and I'm like, dude, what's going on? Like, why are you so angry? You never said anything to me about her. And he's like, you're so dumb. You're so stupid. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, because I wanted you. And in that moment, I was like, oh, hell no. I'm in. And we ended up having this like 1 month long secret behind like everybody's back relationship. He was my first, I was his first, and it was fun. It was super fun. It was high intensity. It was scary because like no one knew, so it made it super exciting. And we saw each other all the time. I remember even bringing him back to my, like, he used to come over to my apartment a lot, and I had a roommate at the time. And I told her, I was like, yeah, he's my friend from Vancouver Film School. He just got back in, and I haven't seen him for such a long time, so he'll be over quite a bit. And she was just like, okay. She had no clue. So yeah, we had this relationship, and then I was starting to be a lot more confident with like sexuality and stuff. And I started coming out to my friends and they were like, we already know. And I was just like, thank you for saying that to me. It makes me feel so special. But they also did open up to me about their sexuality. And they were like, you know what? I want to explore and I want to, I wouldn't mind exploring my sexuality also. So it was really nice that we could create that energy for each other. So anyways, I started coming out to all my friends and it was so wonderful. Just to be that free and liberated and release of the stress, and everybody that I told, I was getting such positive reactions from that I was like, this feels amazing that I can be true to myself. But on the other end, he was not coming out to anybody and he wasn't comfortable and confident with any of that side of him. So when I started coming out to all these people, he started like pulling himself away from me, and then he goes on this trip and meets this guy and comes back and tells me about it, and I'm just like crushed because all I wanted to do was date him. So I remember going to work and I was like bawling my eyes out, and I talked to my boss about it, and she's like, you know what? This is a great time for you to be young and single and exploring your sexuality, so don't get hung up on one guy. She's like, cut him out of your life for 2 weeks and then you guys can have a conversation about it. And that's exactly what I did. I cut him out and he was messaging me like, hey puta, where are you? Like, I miss you. And I was like, block, delete, bye.
Block, delete, bye.
Yeah. And after 2 weeks, I met with him and I was like, hey man, this is how I felt. This is what you did to me. And this is where I'm at now. So long. But we actually became really good friends. And we started going out together and becoming each other's wingman. And it was all super fun and a lot of fun and games. And I like really enjoyed that time in my life, and he gave me that opportunity to come out and experiment and be confident. So I'm super grateful for that. From since then till now, that's been like 4 years. I've dated 2 guys. I've learned so much about myself. I've learned about boundaries. I learned about my sexuality. Learned about my confidence and learn what it's like to be authentic. I've even told my parents about my sexuality, but I'm saving that story until another time. I hope you enjoyed that video. I have one last message for you guys. If you're struggling with your sexuality and you don't feel confident or comfortable with the people surrounding you to come out, know that there's a community out there waiting to embrace you and love you for who you are. It may not feel like that right now, but there is. And if you stay tuned on this channel and listen to some of the interviews that are coming up, you will learn how other people have found their communities and found their sense of belonging within the LGBTQ+ community or their friends around them. So with that being said, we launch our first interview video next week, and I am super excited because this is one impactful story. We are hosting Mackie Maximilian. So without further ado, tune in next week, like, subscribe, and comment if you haven't, and hit me up on It's Quear and we can talk. All right, ciao for now.